In this module, we will cover the institutional investor, custodian, other custodian related functions or roles and responsibilities. So, let's start. If I talk about institutional investor, see, institutional investor, it means we are talking about institutions who invest as institutions in different financial instruments. If I talk about LIC, LIC has invested in more than 500 plus small cap, mid cap, and large cap companies. All right. Same way, if I talk about pension fund or pension provident fund of India, provident fund also has investment into a variety of financial instruments. So same way, if I talk about mutual funds, let's say take the example of ICICI Direct Mutual Fund. ICICI Direct has more than 100 plus investment schemes as a mutual fund institutions, and they have invested in variety of financial instruments. So what it means, so now if we talk about institutional investor, institutional, it means institutional investor is an organization that invest its own assets. So it means they can invest in their own assets or those it holds interest for others. Typical institutional investors are investment companies, including mutual fund, pension system, insurance companies, universities, banks, or any family houses also that you can consider as an institutional investor. Institution will register with the regulator as an institute, and once they registered, then in SEBI will or SEBI or stock exchange or regulatory bodies, I would say they'll release the certificate as an institutional investor, and they'll also get the access of NSE system as well, NSE or BSE or stock exchange, I would say, system where they can buy and sell the securities through institutional investor route. So this is how institutional investors that works, I would say. So the most important aspect here is when we talk about institutional investors, they have their separate route to buy and sell the securities. So they cannot buy and sell the securities directly from the market. So they'll have their different rules. So it means they'll buy and sell the securities through custodian, and that's what custodian rule come into picture. So here one more, if you observe, it holds in trust for others. So it means institutional investors, they hold the securities in trust for others. When we talk about trust, so it means we're talking about custodian. The reason is custodian provide that safety and security to the investment. So let's talk about custodian. So I'll summarize it why custodian and institutional investors, they are interlinked to each other. If I talk about word of custody, custody, it means safekeeping of assets, and this refers to keep the assets in a safe place. There are two main reasons why banks are originally responsible for custody. First, you need a vault in order to immobilize the assets if physical, and secondly, because it implies the exchange between cash and securities. So understand this. Bank offer locker, right? Bank offer credit card accounts or debit card accounts or saving accounts, bank accounts. Bank offer it. Why bank offer it? Because bank work as a custodian. Bank offer that facility, and bank also offer that accounts where customers or deposit holders, they can deposit their money, maybe digital or physical, any goods as such, they'll deposit with bank, and bank will provide safety and security to the goods. So that's how your custodian rule come into picture. So as we know that tradition, if we talk about traditional approach, we know it, custodian provides safety and security to the assets. But in modern world, custodians they plays very different role, I would say. So I'll decode that also. But now how let's conclude this, how institutional investors and custodians they closely work with each other. See, if we talk about institutional investors or institutions are mandated to appoint their custodian like State Street, BNY, JP Morgan, or any other institute, or even HDFC Bank or ICC Bank, right? Bank, I would say, or brokers, they'll work as a custodian. It is mandated to appoint custodian. Why? Because all securities are freely transferable, securities. So what if, let's say, fund manager has access of securities directly? It's a possibility that fund manager can transfer that security to anyone, right? And that's what if we have a custodian structure in place, so custodian will track each and everything and report it out to the regulator about unusual movement of securities and holdings, or whatever, cash that the fund is holding as such. And that's why custodian and fund businesses, or custodian or any other institutional businesses, they work very closely. I hope now you get the understanding of what is or what are institutional investors, and how custodians, plays role to ensure safety and securities, to the institutional investors' assets. Now, if I talk about the functions of modern custodian, so let's discuss that. See, modern custodian is responsible for, if you talk about, they keep a track of rights, income, corporate action, taxes, and they also provide end-to-end supports of trading system as well. If now let's take the example, if any institutional investor want to apply for an IPO, then in that case also they can't directly apply it. So it means they took a custodian route. So it means they'll go through the custodian, or they'll approach custodian to apply for an IPO. This is how custodian plays crucial role. And apart from that, as I said, custodians will keep a track of the rights or income, corporate actions, taxes, because custodian also collect taxes on behalf of government. So they charge taxes basically. If I talk about Citibank collect taxes for most of the governments as well. Not only Citibank but also other banks as well. So basically, government will appoint as an agent to the banks to collect taxes on behalf of government. And that's what, if you see, if you're part of corporate action team Citibank, I'm sure you guys are working on claims processing part. Claims, it means tax claims processing part, with the holding tax, without holding tax, then different tax treaties or ratios or rates that we apply while calculating tax on securities. The other function that you would see, anyways, so other function you would see, which is record the positions. Record the positions, it means basically the modern, the custodians, they're offering facility uh, to track or to record the positions or other trade information details and all right. Then third one is capture the trades. Capture the trade, it means custodian will provide facility to capture the trades from the clearing agent platforms like DTCC, Euroclear, ClearPar, and other platforms. And they'll help you to get the proper trade details so that fund or other institutions can easily record the trades in the books of account. And also custodian will help to settle the trades in the books of account as well. Why? Because custodian it is like a bank. So basically they initiate payment, they receive or accept payment on behalf of the client, and additionally they also provide confirmation on securities receipts also. Then last but not the least, protect the investment to gain ownership settlement date. So on settlement date, basically custodians will help you to get the ownership of your securities on time, and they'll provide confirmation as well. So this is how custodian functions involves. All right, because if we talk about traditional approach, only custodians, they were responsible for safety and security, I would say. So basically to offer locker and you can park your securities or investments, That's all. But nowadays, custodians are offering other, services as well. All right. So we'll discuss in detail about the functions of custodian. So how custodians they are helping in, institutes and also. Let's discuss in details because the banks like CT or BNY, then State Street, they are big players in custodial business. So let's discuss that. If you are targeting to those companies, so you should know it, how custodians are helping to the market to stabilize the operations. All right. So first, the if we talk about the point here, or custodian is responsible for, if you ask me, receipts and deliveries. All right, receipts and deliveries of basically stocks, bonds, or any other securities, I would say. All right, and securities or even cash are also done only upon instructions or authorization of the client or the client's authorized investment managers. So these transactions usually involve a trade, that is purchase or sell of securities or cash when a security is purchased and the security is received. So this one is a very important one. Security is received and cash is delivered out. So basically in this case we are talking about buy trade, and first one is where is that? That this is transaction usually trade, that is purchase or sell of securities cash. So when the security is purchased, security will receive and cash will out. When the security is sold, the security is delivered out and cash is received. So this become your sell trade. So delivery versus payment or payment versus delivery. Maybe in your system you would see like claims for DVP or delivery versus payment or delivery versus received DVR, right? So cash itself can be purchased and sold as an investment in the context of foreign exchange. So this is how the custodian is responsible for receipts and deliveries. So next responsibility, if you see, safekeeping. So it's a traditional function, I would say. Securities under custody must be protected in secure environment, regardless of whether they are held physical or electronically. Securities held physically are generally kept in vault at the custodian bank or in a sub-custodian bank hired by the primary custodian. Securities held in book entry are recorded on the books of the depository as being in the account of the custodian. And once securities have been purchased and received into safekeeping, the custodian is responsible for the maintenance of these assets as it pertains to registration, income collection, and corporate action. See, if I talk about NSDL and CDSL, they are the depositories. All right, and if I talk about custodian, it means, let's say, city banks or other custodians, or maybe Indian custodian also, that you would see list of custodians. They closely work with depositories. Why? Because the depository provide network to transfer securities from one account to another account. Because in India, right, we have NSDL and CDSL. They offer demat account facility, so it means we can move or transfer digitalized securities or digital securities, I would say, or share certificates or your bonds. You can transfer from one account to another account through electronic system or through automatic trading system, right? So here basically custodian hold that rights or claim that rights as custodian is holding the securities under their custody. Because custodian also, when they registered as a custodian, they apply registration, they apply with the depositories as a custodian, and they'll take the membership from them by depositing certain security amount as such. And once they'll get the depository certificates, so they'll work as a custodian in the market, and institutions will hire them to provide safety and security, or as I said, even to process corporate actions, collection of income. So it means interest or dividends or any other income, any form of income. If you see, custodian will collect that and record it in the books of account. So this is how custodian plays roles for a safekeeping, of securities. All right. So if I talk about the other function, income, as we know that one major, custodial responsibility is the timely crediting of income payments due to the client from investment held in the client's portfolio. Custodian need to be aware of any income event affecting securities under their care, and this often accomplished by contracting for the services of various information agents who provide, among other things, information regarding the terms of securities issues, income schedule, or dividend announcement. So, in short, custodians work as an agent and they'll collect income. All right. The way means, custodian collect taxes on behalf of government. So they can also collect interest payment dividend on behalf of their clients. And additionally, a custodian can also process income or dividends or any other events. If you see, if clients want to process, they can process it because they hold the securities information also, so they can easily process income distribution or income events or any dividend events as such. All right. The another function, if you see, corporate actions, custodians are also nowadays offering processing of corporate actions on security. All right. And if we talk about custodian, provide in detail insight about pre-corporate actions or post-corporate action, detailed analysis to their clients. And here, if you see, and in the context of corporate action always, that company announce on security and can have a significant impact on the value of that security, and therefore on the value of the client's portfolio also. Monitoring and accurately processing corporate actions on securities held under custody is one of the important responsibility of custodian. So it means if any fund manager holding, let's say, XYZ ABC stock, and if you see any, let's say, stock split or any other event, so basically custodian provide in detail insight or analysis of pre and post corporate action situation, and that's how they maintain records with them so that you can cross verify and reconcile it. All right. The custodian must be aware of any pending actions which could affect any security being held on behalf of any client. Monitoring for corporate actions, those becomes a significant element of custodial functions. Most custodians have a contracted with a variety of news services or information agents in order to receive daily information regarding corporate action events. Further information might be obtained from depositories, sub-custodians, or even issuers. All right. So in terms of corporate action processing and all, if you're a part of custodian, maybe if let's say if you're a part of corporate action team as such, it will work with agent banks, it will work with fund houses, it will work with other clients and will process corporate actions on behalf of them. Or maybe as I said, you can closely work with depositories to get the information about any issues as such if you have in terms of corporate actions or holdings and all. Yeah. uh Next we'll see what we have. The account service. So additional thing, if you see, or the other responsibility, if you see, accounting service. What it means, accounting service? Accounting service, it means the custodian may also provide accounting services to the client. Although this service is not necessarily part of every custodial contract, This accounting can include pricing of securities in the portfolio on daily basis, weekly, monthly, or keeping track of expenses, accruals and payments, capital purchase or contributions, and even disbursements, and also calculating net assets value of clients' portfolio. Custodial offer, that means nowadays custodian is, as I said, modern custodians, they are offering accounting services and all. And under State Street also, if you see, under State Street firm, you would see custodial means accounting services also where custodian is offering. So nowadays, because see, they are holding portfolio, they know it, who is holding how much of value. And even though if they don't provide that service, client will hire someone to perform accounting and all. But if they only hire to them, so they can save their cost as well. All right. So now question is for you. So now you tell me what is sub-custodian and how sub-custodian operate functions, or I would say how sub-custodian works in market, or what about sub-custodian's contribution would be in capital market ecosystem. Just try to answer it in comment section. If you need any clarification, I'll cover that in comment section, or maybe I'll post answer in my post. You can check it. All right. So I'm done with this small session on custodian and custodian's roles and responsibilities. If you like this, please, if you like this initiative, then you can like, subscribe, and share this content with others. I know that you guys are doing, already sharing, commenting, liking my content, but again, 12,000 subscribers, the count is very low. If you can push and subscribe or share this content with others, it will help me to even grow. And if I grow, I'll ensure that you will also grow, because I have design plans to offers much of insightful information and in easy way. So it means you can relate that, you can understand that, right? So I'll do it. So if you ensure 5,000 at least views or likes in next 30 days to this video, then I'll also record the insightful session on other prime broking functions or brokings or stock exchange and their roles and responsibilities, and that is also in details. All right. So yeah, I'm done. And by the way, I have recorded journal entries of subscription redemption expenses and everything